Al-Qaeda-linked Islamist rebels in Mali have promised to drag France into an Afghanistan-style war. They've launched a counteroffensive after 4 days of French airstrikes on their northern strongholds. There are reports that the Islamists have seized control of Diabele, a town 250 miles north of the capital, Bamako. They also control northern Mali, including the towns of Timbuktu, Gao and Kidal. During the weekend, the French carried out airstrikes around Kona and along the road to Mopti, where a French helicopter was shot down. Our Foreign Affairs correspondent Jonathan Miller reports some of the images in his report may be distressing.
As France scrambles to extract itself from Afghanistan, French troops have been scrambled, this time to Mali, to attempt to crush another of the serpent's heads. Al-Qaeda-linked Islamist insurgents say France has fallen for their trap. 3 jihadist groups now deemed to pose a clear and present danger to the capital Bamako and beyond, a threat to Africa and Europe.
The military unit I command will not stay in Bamako, which will be our military base, but will go further north and combat the terrorist groups there, in addition to the airstrikes that we have undertaken in the past 2 days.
The operation already proving heavily dependent on those French airstrikes, aimed at destroying capability, disabling, dislodging and denying sanctuary to the jihadist groups who now occupy an area the size of France. The Islamists are firing online counter-propaganda salvos. They're targeting Muslims again, they say. We will destroy them in their dens. Abd al-Wadud, leader of Al-Qaeda in the Islamic Maghreb, posting this message addressed to the President of France and African leaders who support French intervention.
I direct my message to those who insist on this oppressive war. If you want peace and security, we welcome that. If you want war, we will fulfill your desire. The Great Sahara Desert will be a graveyard for your soldiers.
But François Hollande, the President of France, has taken a carefully calculated gamble. That failure to stop the advancing jihadist forces in their tracks poses an even greater risk: the creation of yet another haven for Islamist insurgents, this time not so far from Europe. This is a propaganda video filmed by one of the 3 main jihadi groups, Ansar Dine. A French presidential aide has admitted they're well-trained, well-armed, with sophisticated weapons looted from Libya by Tuareg rebels who've been fighting with Gaddafi. There's a lurking fear that France could yet get sucked into another long and costly war.
As far as the direct implication of France is concerned, it's a matter of weeks. After we provide support, we have no intention of staying long-term.
That's certainly what the British government will be hoping tonight, with 2 C-17 transport aircraft now in France to provide logistical support, ferrying troops and equipment, at President Hollande's request. The first plane, the Foreign Office says, will fly to Mali overnight.
The situation in Mali is a serious concern for the UK. It would not be in our interest to allow a terrorist haven to develop in northern Mali. As a responsible member of the Security Council, we must support the region in limiting the danger of instability in that part of Africa threatening UK interests.
The Islamists' destruction of the Sufi Muslim shrines in Timbuktu and their administering Sharia punishments, floggings and public amputations have scared secular Malians as well. And they now want urgent help to kick the jihadis out. Even the Tuareg fighters who started the rebellion, only to be overrun by the Islamists themselves, say they support French intervention. And now that help's arrived. Neighbouring African countries signing up, and the United States now promising drones. The French Minister of Defence says it's essential to eradicate what he called these terrorists who could threaten Europe. A Frenchman who clearly isn't suffering any sense of déjà vu.
Jonathan Miller reporting. Well, joining us now is the French ambassador to the United Kingdom, Bernard Emier. Ambassador, how long do you think France is going to be on the ground in Mali?
Well, for the time being, we think it's going to be a matter of weeks, but we don't really know. I mean, the point is that it's going to last as long as necessary, and of course, I mean, the shorter the better. But I want to underline, I mean, that we are fighting against terrorism. And our interests are at stake, and the stakes are extremely high for all our countries. Mali is twice as big as France almost, and 2/3 of Mali is in a desert. These people wanted to have a terrorist state in the heart of Africa. We could not accept such a perspective.
What do you say to your former Prime Minister, Dominique de Villepin, who yesterday said, you know, France's mission to stem Islamist advances in southern Mali will lead to a decade of lost wars like those of Afghanistan, Iraq and Libya?
Well, it seems to me, that we have to focus, our objective, which is to make sure that the United Nations Security Council resolution is going to be implemented. We are acting in a legal context with the blessing of the international community and at the request of the President of Mali and with the support of the regional organization whose name is ECOWAS. So I think it's not going to be, a new adventure. We are just trying to protect a sovereign state and make sure that this state is in a capacity to reconquer its sovereignty on the whole of its territory.
But these forces, these rebel forces, are the overspill from all sorts of actions all over the Maghreb and in the Middle East. They're all drawn together in this one cause in Mali. Is there not a danger, indeed, will there not be a necessity to have other Western nations with sophisticated weaponry assist you?
Well, for the time being, it's too early to say. Our objective is quite simple: to prevent these people from going south in the direction of Bamako, to prepare the deployment and the establishment of the African-led forces, in the whole of Mali, whose name is AMISMA, and to make sure afterwards, that we are going to be in the position to have a political transition
and specifically
in Mali. But what you are saying, John, is very important. A lot of people are gathered in this part of Africa. So it's a common action, and that's why we had the United Nations Security Council resolution adopted unanimously. And tonight, I want to pay tribute to our British friends.
Well, and might the British have to give you more?
Well, the British, we are the first one to support the French operation. They were the first one to provide with logistical support with these two huge aircraft, this C-17, and we hope, that they are going to participate as well to the AU training mission in Mali and to support, all what we are having to do all together. So we are very grateful to our British partners and allies, as we are grateful to other countries which are supporting us.
Ambassador, thank you very much indeed for coming in.